to tell you the story of my cancer and a little bit of other stuff. But before I start on cancer, I have to back up. I have a teacher background. I worked with junior hires back when it was junior high. And then I worked for a long time, 20 plus years in drug and alcohol, a nonprofit group. And in that time, I discovered the importance of community. Having community around you when you're trying to learn or recover is important, and isolation is the worst thing you can do. So I really learned that lesson well. And then if you fast forward still back a few years to 2014, when my first bout with cancer was diagnosed, I found that the idea of community was important when you're going through cancer also. I had a double mastectomy in July of 2014. I had 3 months of chemo, and then I had 2 months of radiation. I think the fact that that's a hard journey right there was made much easier by the fact that I was surrounded with friends and neighbors in my church and the team that was around me at that point. I came through that. I was declared cancer-free for the time being. And my husband and I decided to leave the San Jose area, and we moved to Lincoln, California, back Sun City. And that was 4 years ago. I was a cancer survivor at that point, but I still wanted a community that had a group of cancer people. And we looked at lots and lots and lots of retirement communities, but Sun City was in Lincoln Hills here was the only one that had a cancer survivors group for ladies. So that was high on my list of why we picked this area. We moved in December of 2016, so the very end of 2016, and after a lot of box unpacking, in January of 2017, I went to my first Bosom Buddies meeting. So Bosom Buddies, I found out, was first and foremost a support group for women who are survivors of breast cancer. I went to the first meeting in January of 2017, and I felt immediately at home. They welcomed me with open arms, and I had a whole new batch of sisters. Yay! Now, I soon learned the second thing about Bosom Buddies is they're also a Relay for Life team, and so I was automatically in. We had meetings, we had plans, we figured out themes, and we always made stuff to sell. I kind of considered it all a part of our group therapy, if you will. Anyway, that spring I went to the Survivors Tea. I think Izzy, Karen Russell's daughter, was the hostess. She was one of the ones instrumental in starting that tea, and it was a very fun time, very special, and I started to meet the community that was behind Relay for Life. My first relay was in August 2017. It was about 2,000 degrees hot that day, and we were out at the Lincoln track by the Lincoln High School. But what a fun day. They had special events, they had a ton of teams, and I just remember being a little bit overwhelmed by the different walks and different events that carried on. It was a great day, and then it ended with the luminary lighting at night, and what a visual impact that had. It's very special. Our daughter had just gone through cancer treatments also, and she was with us, and so to have two cancer survivors in the same family just walking around that track was really sweet. But as of then, I was hooked on Relay for Life. Well, let's fast forward to 2020. This is going to go down in history as the year of a collision of 1,000 crises. I mean, we have had pandemics and bombings and fires and earthquakes and just as many things as you can think of to put on one poor world that we live in. And to add to that mix, my cancer was back in triplicate. I actually began sheltering in place a couple of months before the pandemic required us to. But my bosom buddies have been there. They have cheered me on. They have offered help. They check on my progress. I don't go a day or two, but when I don't get a card, a call, a text, an email. And in fact, in a group of 50 some ladies, somebody else is going to have the same thing that I do and they do. And so those similar diagnosis gives you an instant coach. And you go from not knowing how much hope to dare have to really having some hope. Now, one of the things that I have been doing this year is our relay. We were planning for it, even if it has turned into a virtual format. But our theme was the Roaring 20s. So I have been decorating wine bottles with little lights in them. Pull one over here. Have a whole bunch of them. This is purple for the relay, pink for Bosom Buddies, and they're just fun. Something for our group to sell and help raise funds for Relay for Life. In my story, in early diagnosis, you may think you're going to die. In fact, we all are eventually, but you discover that progress in treatment continues to march forward, and you start to have hope. You dare to have hope. Then you gaze around at your family and your friends and your neighbors and your bosom buddies and ACS, and you realize so many are investing in you, that community effect, and you begin to stand up and fight back. And I'm fighting back. Yes, my faith is strong. My community keeps me surrounded. I know new treatments are constantly coming about, and that's one thing ACS does, is it funds research. Help is there for the asking. And I've realized that, you know, it's not just me fighting cancer, it's a lot of us fighting cancer, and we're doing it together. So I want to say thank you to ACS and to Relay, to my bosom buddies, and to tell them that you are my community and we will continue to fight. The Bosom Buddies close each meeting that we have here during normal times with the following slogan: together we are strong, together we make a difference, and together we will survive. And I want to end by with Mr. Rogers. You remember Mr. Rogers. He trained children and worked with children that had sometimes been traumatized. And he said, during any bad thing, look for the helpers. But you know what? Together, we are the helpers. And together, we will bring hope.